That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
Essentially, the Samson option is Israel's kind of looming threat that if we ever get into a war and we're losing, we'll throw a fucking tantrum and nuke everyone.
Jake, you're 30, go start a family. How about I start a fucking fist fight with somebody at Walgreens?
1.5 billion to 2 billion people's diseases: autism, neurodegeneration, cancer, infertility, and autoimmune diseases. This is the first system to ever restore gene function across chromosomes, and it did it without any editing. CRISPR can't do this. This was not just editing genes like CRISPR. This restored natural gene expression.
I'm at the part of the bender where it's like, I don't know if it's gonna keep on going or if I'm just gonna keep on pushing for new fucking limits.
Jello beats, holla at me.
And chew me on some hot nigga. Like I told Tish, I see when I shot nigga. Like you see them twirl, then you drop nigga. And we keep the mind millies on my block nigga. And my take keep it on them, hit them drop niggas. And
You got that scrap on you. What up, y'all?
I'm a fuck with.
And you know, I actually like transgenders in the military too, because first of all, transgenders are some of the meanest people on planet Earth, so they make a good soldier, don't you think? And then, you know, second of all, transgenders love to do mass shootings. So, you know, that's perfect for a military veteran.
Beginning it worked, and then I got on television and they asked me that horrible, horrible question, remember? And I said, oh, am I dead? That's the first question I ever got. Megyn Kelly, may she rest in peace.
I think that this was a professional hit team that was going to take out Charlie Kirk. And I want to show you, I think I can prove this, that we had 3 different shooters on 3 different roofs, or we at least had 2 different shooters on multiple roofs, because I don't think you could be in all 3 locations at the same time.
This insane conspiracy idea filled with just lies about this impossible international conspiracy of human traffickers involving Hillary Clinton.
Peter Thiel teams up with NQTEL, the CIA's venture capital firm. Alex Karp has said on record that the intended clients of Palantir from the beginning was the CIA. And, the CIA was their first client for their first 6 years as a company.
Charlie Kirk DM'd Erica, invited her for a job interview. The job interview ended up turning into a date, and Erica allegedly had said, "You're not going to be my boss, you're going to be my boyfriend."
He said, well, what? How do we know it's not the boyfriend? I said, theoretically, could it be? Before all of the evidence had come out. Theoretically, it's possible. Super unlikely.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature.
Every event that happens in America or the world is the doing of Israel. And if you disagree on any one of them, you got the call.
It's cultural swine, bitch. Now where's the blow?
All right. What is up, people? New shit happening every day, every single day, and today is nothing different. It's 10:20 on Monday, September 22nd, and I wouldn't say the media and the country's forgotten about what happened last week regarding the Charlie Kirk assassination and what even happened before that with the bus stabbing and the Minnesota church shooting. But it's just new shit is coming out so fast where it's like you can't even keep up with everything, that you kind of like have to forget about what happened 2 weeks ago or a week ago so that you can keep up with everything new that's going on. And I just want to give a shout out to Ryan Matta, because he's just going deep into this Charlie Kirk investigation and really trying to do everything he can to, somehow get to the truth of this whole matter. He's recording videos regarding new information when he's at the gym, when he's traveling. So he's just trying to use every single minute he has on trying to find the most truth regarding this matter. So shout out Ryan Matta. If you want someone to follow that's really keeping up with everything, every new bit of information, and who's also working with, the public and his followers on X, it's Ryan Matta. There's some others too, but I think he's going the hardest. But yeah, I guess we can go over some of the new Kirk information. I don't want to spend a whole episode on it because I still don't know if the new information we're getting is true. But I'm still of the opinion now. I'm not saying this is completely right. I could be completely wrong, to be honest. But I'm still of the opinion that it's looking like our greatest ally is the most likely culprit of this assassination. Could be wrong. It's just weird that they have a whole Wikipedia page that's dedicated to every single assassination that their intelligence arm specifically made for assassinations has. And so if you go on Wikipedia, they have the whole page will show you every single assassination that Israel's carried out, who carried it out in Israel, what group, meaning was it the IDF, was it Mossad, et cetera, et cetera. And there's like over 500 assassinations that are documented on that Wikipedia page. And they document this because they have a specific intelligence arm, a specific wing group of their intelligence that is dedicated specifically to carrying out assassinations. Now, the whole trans shooter thing it's still not making any sense. I mean, you have him inscribing on bullets like, hey, fascists, catch this, or notice the bulges, or something he says like really fun. They're kind of like funny meme phrases that like a kid would say his age. But then when you look at the text messages and he's saying, like, I forgot what he said, like, hey mama, or he said something real funny that just doesn't make any sense regarding their ages and how they were texting each other. So those text messages don't make any sense. He's calling his dad old man in the text. He's saying, it just doesn't sound like people their age texting. Also, you have this new footage that Candace put out, which shows basically Tyler Robinson at like a Dairy Queen, like within 15 minutes after the shooting, which it's really weird that there's like a movie poster behind him too. It's the Superman poster. And if you think about who Superman is, I'm just thinking of this now. They call Superman the Man of Steel. And isn't that what like the surgeons and people are calling Charlie Kirk, because the 30-06 bullet somehow did not like go through his neck. There was like no exit wound. So it got like stuck within his neck or in his spine. So I think that's something that they're calling Charlie Kirk, like the Man of Steel. And it's just weird that within 15 minutes, you see this Tyler Robinson character at a Dairy Queen looking like he's looking like he did not just assassinate one of the leading figures in the conservative movement. He does not look like that. And if he honestly did just do that 15 minutes prior to going to Dairy Queen and getting some ice cream and chicken fingers, then you would have to be the most psychotic person that walked this earth to look like that after assassinating someone like Charlie Kirk, a figure like that. So that doesn't make sense. And it's just weird that there's a Superman poster, movie poster behind him, and then they're calling Charlie Kirk the Man of Steel because the bullets. The bullet that was supposedly a 30-06 bullet did not create an exit wound, which means it just kind of got lodged in wherever they found it when performing surgery, which would either be somewhere in his neck or most likely in his spine, which is weird. And Ryan Maddow says that's more indicative of a 22 bullet. A 22 bullet could cause the spine to protrude, almost kind of, you would see the spine protrude, but it wouldn't create an exit wound if it was a 22. That is possible. So that's what Ryan Matt is saying. He's saying it's likely a 22 bullet if it was a bullet that hit him. There's another theory. I'm not saying this is true. I'm just going to throw it out there. There's another theory I saw that is saying the microphone that he had on his shirt, I guess it's possible to put something in there that would explode that no one would notice because it would look exactly just like the battery. It's just as big as the battery, and it would keep at least 75% functionality of the battery if you switched it out with that explosive, meaning no one would have noticed that the battery was switched out with something. The weight wouldn't have changed. It would have worked perfectly, essentially. And I guess if you slow the video down and you like watch it over, you can see that when his shirt, you see his shirt like, absorb something, whether it's a shot or an explosion. You see his shirt move up, you see his neck move back, and then you see the little microphone piece, the top piece of it that was on the outside of the shirt, fly off in the direction of where we see the bullet hole. And people are now saying that it's possible that that device was actually the battery of that microphone, which I think was a Rode microphone, was switched with some type of explosive, and that what actually entered into Charlie Kirk's neck was the top magnet part of that microphone that was on the outside of his shirt. I don't know about that one. I just watched a video actually last night where Ryan Matta said that's just, he can't see why that would be true, but it's possible. I mean, here we can probably all right, so we will hold on. I'm gonna see if I can find this video of him explaining it. I don't think it's too long. If it is, we won't. All right, here. All right, so we'll watch just a little of it, I guess.
It's actually in 30-06, and somehow this magically shot Charlie Kirk in the neck. But, all right, we're going to go down this rabbit hole. But this is why I'll explain at the end why I don't promote or I don't go down these theories. Main reason I don't go down these rabbit holes.
In the neck. The DJI Mic 2
Public opinion.
wireless pro transmitter. Last frame. The lavalier microphone cable is now on the other side with wireless pro transmitter. The deformation of his shirt and the movement of his earpiece and magnetic clasp all point towards the Rode mic. I was mistaken. After seeing a high-quality version of the back angle, I can say with confidence that it was his necklace and cross that was blown over his head. This is very important as it's the fourth energetic event from that area. Only an explosive event can explain what we witnessed. That event had a epicenter. That's exactly where his wireless microphone mounted under his shirt with a magnetic clasp. The chain and the magnetic clasp move at a high rate of speed away from the epicenter. All J702 analysis of Sept 10th Utah event. Visuals only. Energy dispersal at upper chest, neck. Fabric bulge collapse.
Okay. What he was saying is that gets blown off right here that you see leave his head. That is his earpiece. You can see it's directly around his ear. That is his lavender ear mic, or a lav mic. That would have been in his ear there. I don't think that that's his necklace, honestly. If that is his necklace and it gets blown off his neck, that's pretty interesting. But you know what I see right here? The bulge coming out of the back of the neck. I see the bullet. I see the bullet getting lodged into his spine. You literally see it protrude out of the back of the neck. It blows off the earpiece or literally snaps the necklace as that bullet literally pushes his spine out of his skin there. For some reason, it wasn't enough force to go through, which makes me think it's a 22. It blows, it snaps the chain off the necklace, and that's what you see this necklace literally, or if that's either his earpiece and it's getting ripped out, the force is blowing it out of his ear, or that's his chain, and literally the bullet going through his neck snaps that chain because it hits that thing with such speed that it literally just snaps whatever clasp is on that necklace, and that's his necklace flying off his head, which would make the most sense to me. But Erica was holding that necklace. What he's basically saying here is that he's trying to say that this microphone right here, that was right there a second ago, is somehow propelled. See, the microphone's already gone. It's right there, and then I don't know where it goes to, which would be interesting, because it's gone, it disappears, but then the hole opens up. Like, it's not like we see that microphone going in there, and I think that hole is a lot smaller than that microphone, in my personal opinion. And it's so inconclusive, it's so impossible to tell. But unless you had 4 more angles, and there is a front camera angle here where the turning point people were standing, You know, like this girl is standing right here with a camera. So if they wanted to prove that, all they'd have to do is release that footage. Turning Point would. But I mean, so that's another theory. I don't really believe the 30-06 bullet is what hit him. I know nothing about ballistics, but I kind of understand like what bullets do. I've shot guns. I've seen what bullets can do to certain things, especially human beings, or those like gel ballistic things that they shoot to show you the power of guns. And 30-06, I'm under the belief that if that was a 30-06 that hit him, his neck would have exploded, or I mean, not only that, his neck would have exploded, or it just would have exploded the whole top of his body over his shoulder. So his neck and head would have just exploded right in front of us. Now, sorry, I'm trying to plug this in. All right. All right, there we go. All right, yeah, but I'm not believing the whole 30-06 story, to be honest. But I don't know. We'll keep it. I mean, I'm keeping an open mind. The 22 bullet's interesting. But to get back to like who done it, who really done it, you know, I'm not thinking it's Tyler Robinson for the reasons I've already said. The text messages don't make sense. Him being at Dairy Queen doesn't make sense. I think it's hilarious that they tried to call him MAGA before they really knew that he was just a tranny loving furry fucking dipshit. I mean, they just had a new story come out saying that I guess his porn searches indicated that he was into watching furry porn. So I don't know. Maybe a lot of MAGA likes watching furry porn, or likes what do we call it, bestiality type shit. But this doesn't seem like a MAGA guy. It seems like a radicalized lefty, given he was living with a furry and also loved watching furries fuck. And, you know, given he was deeply embedded into like the Discord world of the internet, which is a lot of groups that are radicalized, like the furries and the trans and these other very violent, aggressive, disgusting, vile creature groups. But nothing indicated that he was like MAGA. Maybe his dad was, or maybe his family was, but it is Utah. They're Mormon. I don't know if that, I mean, does it really matter if they were MAGA? But to indicate that he was MAGA is crazy. And this is what we see with Jimmy Kimmel. So I'll speak on that real quick. Jimmy Kimmel wore blackface like 20 years ago when Trudeau was wearing it. Okay, so that's funny. They should have canceled him then if they really cared about offensive speech. The dude was wearing blackface not too long ago. When was that? Let me find that real quick. Remember, Robert Downey Jr. was wearing it too on Tropic Thunder. No one said anything. Justin Trudeau is wearing it. So yeah, this dude, Jimmy Kimmel, was wearing blackface. So was Howard Stern. Howard Stern never got canceled. But he wore it when he was doing some bit about basketball. Okay, so yeah, Jimmy Kimmel on The Man Show, which ran from 1999 to 2004, different times, I guess. Jimmy Kimmel does blackface. All these Hollywood people are hanging out with P. Diddy. So if a celebrity's proximity to a criminal means they take on a person's guilt, and all celebrities and wealthy people are guilty of the crime of the person they are near. I don't know what this tweet's trying to say. But yeah. Okay, Jimmy Kimmel in blackface and full body and full black body, making fun of former NBA player Karl Malone, a marginalized African American. He is also doing black voice as well. This is the same man that is now trying to cancel other people for being racist.
They call Karl Malone, healthy as horse, but everybody not so lucky. All kind of Americans infected by diabetes. Diabetes infect young, old, women, men. And here Karl Malone whole thing. Why they call it diabetes? That get people all riled up. That's what Karl Malone say. Change name diabetes to live beaties. That way, people don't go walk around saying, oh no, I'm going diabetes. Instead, they say, look out, world, live beaties coming through. That's called positivity thinking right there. And that's the kind of thing keep Karl Malone on top. Remember now, you too could prevent forest fire. Until next time, this is Karl Malone.
All right, so that is Jimmy Kimmel on the Man Show. Sometime between 1999 and 2004, and like I said, wearing blackface, full black body, even doing a black voice. And no one said anything back then. No one said anything when Howard Stern was doing blackface. No one said anything when Trudeau was doing blackface. No one said anything when what's his face? Robert Downey Jr. was doing blackface on Tropic Thunder, the movie, okay? But now they're gonna go and cancel him because he made. Here, I'll play what he said this time to get him canceled. Because I mean, I'm not of the opinion that he should have been canceled. I hate Jimmy Fallon. I'll get into it in a second after we play this clip, but let's see, is this it? No, that was him. Okay, so this is Jimmy Kimmel. Another time that like they could have done the same thing to him when he was talking about the unvaxxed. So let's listen to this.
They're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
Like, come on, I feel like that's way worse, but still shouldn't have been canceled. I'm trying to get. This is him during Fox's fire
News
of Tucker
has
Carlson.
severed bow ties with Tucker Carlson. After all these years, they are parting ways, which means he was fired. I mean, that's really what parting ways means. Tucker couldn't be reached for comment. He's already on a plane to Moscow to meet with his manager. But what a shock. I mean, what an absolutely delightful shock this is. Now Tucker can spend more time at home tanning his testicles and touching himself to that sexy green M&M. Sadly, he's probably not done poisoning old people's brains. The question now is, where will he do it next? Will he go to OAN? Will he go to Newsmax? Will he crawl back up Satan's fiery beehole from whence he came? We don't know. One of the most despicable mother Tuckers ever to appear.
All right, let's find what he's talking about, Tyler Robinson. So that's how many things that he could have been canceled, just like he is now. But given the change in administration. All right. Okay, here is what got him canceled.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction.
So this is
murdered Charlie Kirk.
All right, the first 20 seconds is what got him fired.
With the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving on.
So yeah, that trying to characterize it as anything other than one of them. Okay, yeah, probably wrong there. Not probably not the greatest thing to say. Not correct at all. But he still can say it. I mean, come on. How is he not allowed to say something like that? But he was allowed to wear blackface. He was allowed to, kind of come at the unvaccinated people and kind of, laughing at their death if they were to die, even though they ended up being way more healthy than any of the vaccinated people. The only people that are getting COVID anymore aren't getting COVID are the ones that didn't put the poison in their arm. So he was wrong on that, but he wasn't canceled. And then him making fun of Tucker Carlson because Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox and wasn't canceled for that either. Now, it was a different administration. I get that. And I think that I heard a very good explanation of like why this is happening and why it's going to keep getting worse if we don't notice it. And it came from Izzy Griffin. It's all caps Izzy on Instagram. He makes music too, but he also has a really good YouTube channel and podcast where he goes deep into the occult and does a lot of political commentary, I should say. But he describes it as a pendulum. So when you swing a pendulum, it swings the equal height on each side. As it swings back and forth, it's going equal distance and equal height. Now, when you cancel someone on the left or the left cancels someone on the right, that pendulum's swinging like that. But when the administration changes and the pendulum swings back, it's going to swing the same amount. And it's going to be just as the left did to the right will then do to the left. Then when it swings back to, let's say, a new left administration, it's going to swing even higher because the cancellations will get even worse if we continue down this road. Now, if you keep the pendulum swinging, it's always going to be equal on each side. But as the cancellations and the fighting gets worse, the pendulum swings higher and higher and higher and higher, and it goes to each side. And when it goes to each side, it's just as the other side did to them. It's always going to be equal, and it gets worse and worse and worse. It never stops and only gets worse. And that was a butchered way of how Izzy explained it, but I thought that the pendulum explanation is the best way to think about what's going on with like the Jimmy Kimmel cancellation, because the left was canceling people, and then we got the new administration, and the right's going to start canceling people, and the pendulum's just going to swing equal on both sides. But when someone takes it a step further and makes it a step worse, when the other side becomes the ones in power, the pendulum will swing just as high. So that was a good way to explain it, I think. Shout out to Izzy. But to get back to the Jimmy Kimmel cancellation, I hate the guy. The guy wore blackface. He's calling for the death of the unvaccinated, essentially. He, was talking shit about Tucker getting fired, essentially the same thing that he's going through. And now he's going through it. But I think he has the right to be wrong. I think he had the right to say what he did, even though it was wrong and retarded. I don't think he should have been fired, because now it's just giving whatever administration's in power the power to cancel anyone then, whether it's left or right. I mean, this same cancellation strategy that so many people are cheering for could easily be turned and used against them at one point or another. It's like the whole TikTok situation. Like, I didn't use TikTok. I don't think it's Chinese spyware. I think it's more Israeli spyware than anything. But when I did think it was Chinese spyware and they were trying to take it away from us, I didn't want them to take it away. I didn't want it to be illegal to have. I actually downloaded it once they started trying to take it away. Because, yeah, maybe I didn't use TikTok. Maybe I didn't like it. But if they took away TikTok, giving them that power to take away social media platforms, starting with TikTok, gave them the power then maybe to take away the other social media platforms that I actually do like and I actually do use, like Instagram or X or Reddit or Substack. So you give them the power to take one thing. Maybe that thing isn't something you like or use, so you cheer it on. You might even think the thing they take away is actually bad for us to have, so you cheer it on. But when they come back around and try to take away something that you like, that's of the same, what should I say, industry, say social media platforms, what are you going to say? You cheered it on the first time, but now when they're taking away something you like and the other side's cheering, you have no room to say anything because you were in support of it when they first did it. So just be careful what you support when they start taking away and censoring things, because maybe you don't like, maybe you like what they're censoring and you don't like what they're taking away. So you're happy about it, but they will use that same power against you at one point. So I don't think it's right that Jimmy Kimmel got fired. And I think that cheering this on will only be used against the people cheering it on when another administration becomes the ones in power and they come for your side as well. Because now cheering this on and allowing this to happen, Jimmy Kimmel getting fired and canceling him and censoring him, is only going to allow whoever was in charge of that to do it to people on the right, or to do it to maybe any of the citizens that they feel the need to do it to, maybe even yourself. So be careful about what you cheer when it comes to censoring and cancellations. All right. Let's see. Anything? Let's talk about Charlie Kirk's wife real quick. Charlie Kirk's. I've already made some statements about Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica, who is now seen as, like, I think even before his death, was seen as like one of the most powerful women in the United States, maybe even the most powerful. She was not broke when she met him. She worked for Trump. Originally, how she became an employee of Trump was getting into the fashion, modeling, pageant industry. So before she became Miss Arizona, I don't think she had any prior modeling experience or pageant experience, which is weird. But she wins Miss Arizona and then goes and competes in Miss USA, which is a Trump-owned pageant. Trump runs Miss USA. It's one of his companies. So essentially, when competing in Miss USA, you're competing under a Trump company. And so she becomes, I don't think she wins Miss USA, but she becomes an employee of Trump after that. Now, there's some weird rumors that I heard about regarding Erica and Romania, in which she had set up some type of church missionaries, some type of organization regarding evangelical churches in Romania. And a lot of locals were coming out and saying that there was talks and rumors of child trafficking going on within these churches that Erica Kirk had set up in Romania. And the locals were saying that children were being kidnapped and trafficked to places like Britain, Israel, and then private islands. So that's really weird. Maybe she met Epstein. Maybe she met Ghislaine. Maybe she met characters in these groups that, are still kind of operating today, regardless of who's been arrested and who hasn't. Also, not only the Romania rumor church shit, but she also met Charlie Kirk through an interview. So this wasn't like some organic meeting of two people that just instantly fell in love. Charlie Kirk was interviewing for a spot in Turning Point USA. So what happened was he set up an interview with Erica when she was an employee for Trump. So it makes you think, did Charlie organically find Erica for this position that was open and she seemed to be the best for that position, or did a third party somehow set this interview up? And I think the latter. And I think it might have been someone like Trump. And what happened was she goes to interview, and after that interview, they're not co-workers, they're actually now a couple. So it only took one interview, one meeting for them to know that they were in love with each other. And I'll play a clip real quick. of this girl that made a video breaking all that stuff down because it's pretty interesting.
Wins Miss Arizona competes in Miss USA, a pageant. 2012 wins Miss Arizona competes in Miss USA, a pageant owned by ... Trump. Okay, want to know something really weird? So she had said in a podcast that she had never competed in pageants and had never done any modeling before until one day she receives an invitation in the mail to become a model and start doing pageants. And the pageants that she started doing were Miss USA pageants owned by Trump. So she modeled for Trump. She was one of Trump's pageant girls. But did you know that she was also a casting director at the same time that she was doing all of this stuff for Trump? Now, she doesn't specify on her website if she worked as a casting director for Trump, but around the time that she was claiming to be a casting director, she also owned a ministry that was working with the U.S. military in Romania. The area in Romania where she was operating this ministry had a bunch of locals accusing these evangelical ministries of kidnapping children and trafficking them out of the country. These children were being found in the UK, in Israel, and were also being sent to undisclosed private islands. Locals demanded authorities look into it, but they never did. Now, Charlie Kirk really wanted the Epstein files released, but did his wife? Prior to marrying Charlie Kirk, she was a multi-millionaire on her own, and since his passing, she's also amassed all of his wealth plus an additional at least $5 million in donations. She's currently considered the most powerful woman in the United States, with mega fans begging her to run as vice president in 2028. Let's talk about their first date because it was actually a job interview. Back in 2018, 2 years after Donald Trump had started working with Charlie Kirk had hosted a Turning Point USA opening event for one of the offices that they had opened. And Erica and Charlie Kirk were introduced to each other. Charlie Kirk instantly thought that she was beautiful, but thought that she was really smart. And allegedly, one of their mutuals had suggested that Charlie Kirk hire Erica. I'm assuming it was Donald Trump or someone on his team because Donald Trump had signed on to work with Charlie Kirk, and Erica was already one of Donald Trump's employees. So it would make the most sense for Donald Trump and his team to encourage Charlie Kirk to hire Donald Trump's employees. Anyways, Charlie Kirk DM'd Erica, invited her for a job interview. The job interview ended up turning into a date, and Erica allegedly had said, "You're not going to be my boss, you're going to be my boyfriend." It just seems suspicious.
All right, so yeah, I don't know. It does seem a little bit suspicious. And I don't know. Yeah, so that just makes me a little bit suspicious of her. I don't know really what to think. You know, I know she was also on some type of reality TV show before they met, so she can probably act a little bit, but I don't want to accuse. I just want to throw everything out there so that, you know, we kind of exhaust every theory to get somehow closer to the truth. But I don't know what's going on with her. I really don't. She spoke yesterday at the memorial, which was here in Arizona, but in Glendale. And there's just weird numerology all around this event too, this Charlie Kirk assassination. I've already gone over all the 33 shit. You have cross-eyed retard Kash Patel, who thinks he runs the FBI, who's just a little cuck for Israel, who just, you know, has cucked out and became the little bitch on a leash for Israel, saying that they arrested him exactly 33 hours after Tyler Robinson. That's weird. You know, they say the drive that Tyler Robinson the drive from the school to his Furry's house was 3.5 hours, 33. Then you have the hats in front, which are 47, 47, 47. There's 3 of them. 4 plus 7 equals 11. 11 times 3 is 33. That was a little weird. Okay. And then you got Charlie Kirk. I guess Kirk means church in some different language. I don't know if I'm right on that, but Kirk is basically another way of saying church. So if that's true, you would have Charlie Church, which would be CC. That's 3 and 3, 33. This shit will make you go crazy. So there's just, it's just so weird. And yeah, the numerology just kind of fucking freaks me out, but they could just be thrown, you know, it could always be intelligence. Every event like this, they just go, hey, just throw a bunch of 33s everywhere, make them crazy, and then it'll kind of cover our tracks. That could be the case, or it could be some type of Freemason shit. I have no clue. But Glendale in Phoenix area is on the 33rd meridian. It's a known place for Freemasons to be and to live. I mean, the 33rd meridian. So, but we had the memorial service there in Glendale yesterday. I think like over 300,000 people showed up. You had speakers of the likes of Trump Jr., so Don, Tucker Carlson, who I think was the most interesting speaker. Obviously Erica, Dana White was there, Elon was there. You had a bunch of very high level people there. I think JD Vance was there. I don't know if the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was there, but if there was some type of attack where the president was killed, the vice president and the Speaker of the House were all killed, I don't know who the fuck takes over. Elon probably would end up taking over. You know, if there are aliens, they sure are subtle. But Elon was there too. So it's like, if all those people end up, dead after some type of tragic event where they're all, kind of in the same place at the same time and they get attacked, who ends up leading the country after that if none of them survive? So I thought that was sketchy that all of them showed up to that. Like I said, Tucker talked, I don't know, I think he was the most interesting because what he said was something, this is a summary and, obviously paraphrasing it, but he said Charlie Kirk is similar to Jesus when he showed up as a young Jesus in Jerusalem and started speaking out against the people in power. And the people in power didn't really know what to do with him. He was causing the people in power a lot of trouble. A lot of people were starting to now not believe the people in power because of a young Jesus. And in order to shut him up, they had to essentially kill him. And if he's going to compare Charlie Kirk to that, it's like, who were the people in power then that Charlie Kirk was speaking out about recently? I think we all know. He didn't accept $150 million from Bibi. He was questioning the Epstein thing. He was questioning a stand down order on October 7th and a lot more than that. So it makes you think, what was Tucker trying to say there? Also, I would have watched more. I didn't really watch any of it, only clips. And I would have watched a lot more if Candace Owens was given the ability to speak at that event. And she wasn't. She didn't even show up. She said she's not going to go if she can't speak, which I think is a good thing. So, I don't know. I'm glad no one was hurt. I'm glad the event went well. It's amazing how many people showed up. But any events like that are kind of sketchy at the moment, so I'd beware of those. Yeah, so I guess one last thing on this whole Kirk subject. There's so much coming out every day. There's so much more I could talk about regarding what theories there are and what information we have and what footage we have, but I'm not going to get deep into it. I'm just going to give little updates, summaries, and kind of my thoughts on it, and that can range from the numerology, the information regarding backgrounds of his wife or anyone else, and who stands to gain the most from a death like Charlie Kirk's. I'll give rundowns like that, but I'm not going to be going deep into it, into every single theory, into every single piece of information. It's just not worth it because new information comes out every single fucking day. Every single fucking 10 minutes or 15 minutes, there's new information. So if you really want to dive deep into this where you're getting all the new information or, all these different kind of theories and the validity of those theories and the information, go follow someone like Ryan Matta and just put your notifications on and follow that. But I'm not going to spend every episode going too deep into it. I want to talk about some other shit as well. So this is going to be the last thing. I wanted to talk about what Laura Loomer said. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So let me pull that up. And Laura Loomer has changed her face about 6 or 7 different times. She started out as a dude and turned into what she is now. And she's just so full of shit with everything. She's also another cuck for Israel. And I mean, if you can just tell by looking at her. Here's a reporter talking to Kash Patel when he's leaving a meeting.
Kash Patel, the American people want to know, how does it feel to be a cuck for Israel? Answer the question. Seeing and hearing what the FBI is doing on a daily basis. You're claiming to serve the American people? You're serving Israel. Does it feel to be Israel's bitch? You don't care about kids getting raped? The American people want to know. He's a patriot. Patriot? He's a patriot. Rape kids? Is patriotism to you? Thank you for your service, raping kids? You're an idiot. I'm an idiot? Really? Yes, you are. I didn't say anything.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Thank you to whoever that journalist is. That is fucking gold. All right, but to get back to good old Laura Tranny Boomer, Laura Loomer. Where is this? Did I not save it? Damn it. I'll just go to Ryan Matta. Because this has a lot to do with like what to expect now in the near future regarding false flag events, false fag events, and why not to believe that if something goes down, like a huge attack and a lot of people are killed, most of the media, likely all of the paid mainstream media, are going to immediately say, oh, this is a terrorist attack. And the terrorists are Middle Easterns. They're, Hamas, Al-Qaeda, things like this. And they want you to immediately think that so that we all band together, give our country the consent to go into these countries and dismantle them and just totally fuck them up. Like we've done in the past with Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Libya, etc. And I'm not saying it's not those groups, but don't immediately just believe what the mainstream media tells you right after these attacks happen, if they happen. Because likely it wasn't those groups. It was another group, usually our greatest ally, telling people it's those groups so we don't look to them as the culprit, and we give them our full support to now go into those countries and do exactly what they've done for so many years, which is just dismantle them, murder people, innocents, civilians, children, women, and pretty much cause regime changes in which now we kind of control those areas. So don't believe them right away. False flag events are a real fucking thing. All right, let me see if I can find this. Come on. All right, here we go. I got it. All right, so oh shit, this isn't the full. Come on, where's the full? I'm just gonna go to Laura Loomer's Twitter. And let me read Laura Loomer's bio on Twitter when you go to her page. So if you go here, you find it says investigative journalist, free spirit, founder of Loomered, host of Loomer Unleashed, former at Project Veritas operative, America First, and then she has a Star of David emoji, feisty Jewess. That's what she calls herself. All right, so let's see. All right. All right. God damn, she's fucking on Twitter all day, dude. You gotta go back. All right, found it. All right. Now I want to make sure this is the same. Okay, so this is what Laura Loomer said on, let me see. So a day ago. and then I'll read to you what her sources told her. So this has Mossad written all over it, but this is what she says. We will have another 9/11 in our country, probably within the next 6 months to a year. And when we do, it will be because the people who have been put in charge of combating terrorism in America are too afraid to say Islamic terrorism. Don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, she says that. And then she also puts this out, I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago, saying, or no, 3 days ago now. This is on the 19th. She goes, must read. Urgent intelligence alert. NCTC confirms Al-Qaeda presence on U.S. soil. Imminent multi-city Islamic terror attacks. Sources tell me tonight that the National Counterterrorism Center, NCTC, has officially determined that Islamic terrorists affiliated with Al-Qaeda have infiltrated U.S. soil and are actively planning a series of coordinated Islamic terror attacks. This marks the first time federal counterterrorism officials have openly acknowledged the immediacy of such threats, signaling a potential escalation in domestic jihadist activity not seen since the height of ISIS-inspired plots in the mid-2010s. According to NCTC's latest assessment, shared in a classified briefing to congressional leaders and leaked today, Al-Qaeda cells, emboldened by the group's resurgence in Afghanistan and North and Central Africa, have embedded themselves across major urban centers in the U.S. This has been confirmed intercepted communications, financial tracking, and human intelligence. Sources tell me that this is a sophisticated operation aimed at maximizing casualties and chaos. Indicators of preparation, uniforms, hospitals, and deception tactics. My sources tell me that the attack strategy by Al-Qaeda is designed to sow confusion and cripple emergency response. These terrorists have been purchasing large quantities of police and first responder uniforms from surplus outlets and online vendors in at least 5 states. These acquisitions, traced through bulk credit card anomalies and CCTV footage, suggest a plan to impersonate law enforcement during the assaults, allowing attackers to blend in, direct panicked crowds, or even execute secondary strikes on fleeing victims. My sources tell me that the Al-Qaeda terror attack plans in the U.S. are focused on hospitals and medical facilities. NCTC even has evidence that these terrorists are scoping emergency rooms, trauma centers, and triage points in cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, and Miami. The intent appears clear: disrupt healthcare infrastructure to prevent treatment of the wounded, effectively creating a second wave of fatalities through denial of care. In the event of an attack, civilians could face a nightmarish scenario where friend and foe are indistinguishable and medics overwhelmed and no safe haven for the injured. The potential for hundreds, if not thousands, of additional deaths in the chaos is described by one DHS source as horrific beyond comprehension. The plot scale points to simultaneous strikes across multiple cities, echoing Al-Qaeda's historical ambitions for mass casualty operations like 9/11, but adapted for urban guerrilla tactics. Targets could include soft sites such as crowded events, transportation hubs, and public gatherings. We are under attack. Al-Qaeda Islamic terrorists disguised as first responders are planning to attack U.S. cities and our hospitals. Where are our lawmakers to address this growing threat of Islamic terror in the U.S.? All right, so that has Mossad written all over it, just like Ryan Matta says. You know, they're trying to prepare us for these attacks, and they're already giving us the suspects, the culprits. They're already telling us who it's going to be, what they're going to do. Why would they do that, and how would they really know? Unless it was them carrying out these attacks and then creating an enemy that they can now go and attack and take their land. You know, it'd be, Iran's the last country they need before Israel and essentially the United States have full control of the Middle East. So don't listen to bullshit like that. That shit's crazy. But I mean, just speaking of like Israel, honestly, and just getting off the Charlie Kirk subject, I just watched a great documentary that just came out. It was Creating Israel. That's what it's called. Creating Israel by Ian Carroll. It was filmed by Ryan Matta. And it just had so many fucking interesting topics and interesting pieces of information that I had no clue about. I mean, I understood that Israel was only 70 years old up until like about now. So it's a very young country. And how they founded it is just insane. You know, it starts in like the 20s. Around the 20s through the 40s is when they really start founding and creating the country we know as Israel, which was Palestine before that. And the mob, not only the Italian mob, but the Jewish mob that was very present in the United States during World War II, was able to send extra guns, you know, from that war to Israel, where they were using those weapons and funding to take over the country that was once known as Palestine, to create what we know today as Israel. And the forces over there was 3 different groups. They were the first terror groups to ever be designated terrorist. And I forgot their names, but there's 3 different groups. And in order to get that label of terrorist off of those groups, they blended those groups together, meaning they just merged them, and then they called it the IDF. And that's what we know as the IDF today. They started off as a terror group, it seems like. All right, not only that, the other piece of information I learned from that documentary was the Samson option, which means that if you, it's because, like I said, they bomb Iran because they have enriched uranium and there's a threat of them building a nuke. But Israel wasn't allowed to have nukes either, and that's what JFK was investigating. He wanted to investigate their nuclear program, the missing nuclear material from the U.S. at companies that were run by Zionist individuals. He wanted to investigate that, and he said, we're going to cut ties if I can't investigate and likely shut down your nuclear programs and your research facilities. Well, JFK ends up dead, and Israel ends up with nukes. So, and we don't know where those nukes are. It's secret. They didn't sign the nuclear treaty that every other country with nuclear weapons had to sign. So now they have this thing called the Samson option, which means that if Israel's allies don't support and defend them in their wars when they're losing, and it's looking like they're going to end up losing the war, they will just nuke everyone then, and they will just bomb everyone. They won't only bomb the people they're fighting and losing a war to, they will bomb everyone, even the allies, because they didn't defend the war that they were losing. So as an ally and the other allies of Israel, if we don't defend them in a war that they are likely to lose, instead of just bombing the people they're fighting, they will bomb everyone with the nukes they have, kind of forcing people into, especially their allies, into defending and supporting them in any war they're in, whether they're losing or not, whether it's moral or not. So that was another piece of information I thought was very interesting. And just the whole founding and creation of Israel was violent. If you watch that documentary, you'll understand. But that's all I got to really say about that. What else I got? I should probably get off the Israel talk for a little bit. Let's see. Oh, I did want to look this up because my dad and I and my mom were talking the other day, and my dad was talking about other places that he'd like to live in if it wasn't the United States, and he said Denmark, and I said, why? You won't have your guns. And he says, no, they have very good gun laws. Apparently, everyone's allowed to have an automatic weapon, so we're gonna find out right now. Well, ask Grok, actually. Give me a rundown on the gun laws in Denmark. And I never looked up the gun laws, I just saved it to look up during this episode, so we'll do that now. Denmark has some of the strictest firearm regulations in Europe, governed primarily by the Danish Ministry of Justice under the Executive Order on Weapons and aligned with the EU Firearms Directive. These laws emphasize public safety with a focus on preventing crime and illicit trafficking. Civilian ownership is permitted but heavily restricted to specific purposes, and all firearms must be registered. As of 2025, there has been no major legislative changes since the 2022 updates following the Copenhagen mall shooting, though discussions on further tightening, e.g. enhanced background checks, continue. Gun violence remains low, with Denmark recording only about 30 to 40 gun deaths annually. Mostly suicides are gang-related. All right, so licensing and eligibility. To own or acquire a firearm, individuals must obtain a license from the police, demonstrating a genuine need, such as hunting, sport shooting, or collecting. Self-defense is not a valid reason. What? All right. Requirement: age minimum 18 for rifles, shotguns 20 plus for handguns. Background checks: thorough vetting for criminal history, mental health issues, domestic violence convictions, or extremism ties. Police conduct home visits and interviews. Training: mandatory safety courses and exams. Renewals require ongoing proof of competence. Firearms must be stored, unloaded in approved safes. Ammunition kept separately. Licenses expire after 2 to 5 years, depending on firearm type. All owners are entered into a national registry. All right. So firearm categories and restrictions. Okay, Denmark classifies firearms into categories A through D based on the EU directive, with bans on high-risk types. Automatic weapons are prohibited for civilians. So we got category A, prohibited. Automatic firearms, military-style semi-automatics, e.g. AR-15 variants, none for civilians. Restrictions: total ban, exceptions only for museums or deactivated display. So my dad was wrong. All right, category B, handguns, semi-automatic, center fire rifles, pump action shotguns, licensed sport shooters or hunters with strong justification, limited to 1 to 2 per license. Magazine capacity capped at 10 rounds. C, general. Bolt action rifles, break action shotguns, deactivated firearms, hunters, sport shooters, collectors, easier to obtain but still requires a license, must be marked and traceable. D, non-firearms, air guns under 7.5 joules, alarm/signal pistols, general public with limits, no license for low power models but sales tracked. Okay, so yeah, all right, so he was wrong. I don't know what he was talking about. Everyone can have a fucking automatic gun. Apparently you have to serve in the military there, and then after you get an automatic gun is what he was saying, and he was full of shit. We got the best gun laws for sure. Yeah, they have low crime, but they're also an they're an ethno state with borders. Essentially, Denmark is. So yeah, they're going to have lower crime than most countries that allow criminals to come in by the millions without vetting, and are allowed to do whatever they want, especially when they're continually let out of prison for crimes that they arrest Americans for. So that's going to cause higher crime in places, not guns. Guns will protect the good people in places like that. Also, Denmark's government hasn't become a tyrannical entity like many have in the past, and many are becoming today, which is why the founding fathers in our country said you need guns. Not for sport shooting, not for collecting, not for hunting, but for a crazy tyrannical government that gets out of fucking hand, like, ones that like using Palantir and, ones that like funding genocide, etc. That's what firearms and the Second Amendment is for. Also to protect your First Amendment so you can say whatever the fuck you want, but we're seeing that go down the drain too. Anything else? What about that? I guess we had that. There was an update with that meteorite that people, that I've talked about, the potential fucking alien species that landed with that meteorite, and it's been growing ever since. I have this is from last week, but this is like a debunking of that alien species. So I'll read it and then I'll go see if there's any more news on that thing growing in that dude's house in Panama. So I have been asked to share this here, and as it is the most plausible explanation, here it is. Wild videos from Kin Panama showing what appears to be a black viscous substance growing from a supposed meteorite fragment in Panama. The clips have millions of views, with people genuinely convinced they're watching alien life emerge and move around like something straight out of a Venom movie. Sorry to break this to you guys, but what it actually is, polydimethyl siloxane, PDMS, or just silicone polymer. The same stuff used in medical implants, cookware, and various industrial applications. A little bit of hexane, and a little bit of hexane, which is a common organic solvent. The alien wiggling movement is caused by something called swelling-induced snapping motion, which happens when PDMS absorbs the hexane and swells. As the hexane evaporates or redistributes, different parts of the PDMS contract. At different rates, this creates sudden snapping movements that look organic and alive. The irregular timing makes it appear like the substance is breathing or reaching. PDMS has a flesh-like texture and appearance, and the swelling contracting mimics muscle movement, and the black color adds to the alien aesthetic. When he's touching it with his fingers, just know neither PDMS nor hexane are particularly dangerous in small amounts, but hexane vapor should be avoided in enclosed spaces. While a cool visual, this type of material behavior isn't really new, as researchers have been studying swelling-induced motion for applications in soft robotics, self-actuating materials, artificial muscles, and smart materials that respond to environmental changes. What we are seeing is how cool materials science can be. Okay, the fact that simple chemistry can create something so convincingly alive is pretty cool, but sus as fuck on this dude's part. Guys, let's put this to bed, please. Okay, so let's go see if there's anything else that this guy's posted about this meteorite shit that would render the debunking false. All right, so this is a day ago. So Kin Panama did a TikTok on live last night showing the creature up close with light. It resembles a Venus flytrap in a way, and the roots have hardened, so it has plant-like qualities, which also means it will die soon. He made it seem he's put it back in the safe and taking it to the woods. He wants to kill it, so who knows? Side note, his name is Kevin, and he works as a ground crew operator at the Panama airport, so compare that with his massive skill set on display in this drama series. All right. Yeah, he says he's going to kill it, I guess. So I have no clue. No clue on that thing. I have no clue of what we've been watching. If you've been watching Alien Earth, which the finale is this week. Actually, it's tomorrow or Wednesday. This thing is kind of similar to the aliens that are portrayed in that show, Fire Show. I think that show is just predictive programming, though, at this point. I mean, they're uploading consciousness from very sick kids, but they have special qualities, into synthetic bodies. So essentially, they're synthetic bodies with human consciousness, meaning humans would be immortal if we were able to do that. At least our consciousness would be. And then there's also AI tied into the show, which are just like AI robots, which work with the synthetic bodies that have AI consciousness, which are all, products of a company owned by, they call him the Genius Boy, which is one of the humans in the show. And essentially like a tech mogul character, someone like Peter Thiel or Elon or Zuckerberg. And that's who runs the company. That's who built the technology. That's who was able to figure out the way you could put human consciousness into a synthetic body. And then now there's a whole storyline where aliens, now one of their spaceships holding these alien creatures crashed into Earth, and now they got to figure that shit out. But all the other technology in the show seems to be like what we are trying to currently figure out as humans, almost like it's predictive programming, kind of setting us up for what's to come in the near future, what to expect life to be like in the near future. And the weird thing is, it's not only the boy genius that runs things. There's like 4 other companies that make up a group of 5 huge tech companies that kind of control the world, and they're also the government. So when they vote, they get these 5 companies and the people that run them in a room together, and that's how they kind of vote on things. Instead of having a government, they're ruled by they call it the governing 5, essentially, or the 5 rulers who kind of run everything. So that's, if you look at like the direction that we're actually going in as humans today, it's kind of something like that. So those are my last thoughts. I'll be back next week. I don't think I'm going to record again this week. If I do, well, then I will. But I'll be back next Monday. I'm going to try to have more shit to talk about and probably try to bring some more humor back into the podcast. I know it's been a kind of devastating last couple of weeks to a month, given everything that's happened and all the events that we've had to witness. That is just kind of bringing everyone down, but hopefully we'll have some more shit that's not devastating and tragic to talk about next week. But until then, peace.
One day the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossil skeletons in the plains of Africa. An upright ape living in dust with crude language and tools, all set for extinction.